Welcome to Dungeon Mastering is Easy. This is the show that shows that anyone could be a dungeon master. Hello, my name is Vahid. I'm the host of the show. And today we are joined by the wonderful Robert Hartley GM. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's nice to have you here. Rob is the dungeon master from the wildly popular YouTube channel, D&D YouTube channel, Viva Literate League D&D. And he also runs his own Twitch channel where he runs a variety of D&D content from chat-driven adventures, actual play chat adventures, through to reading rule books and everything in between.
Indeed. Yeah, I consider myself like a D&D themed variety streamer, where it's like, as long as it's something to do with D&D, I'm usually doing it.
You're in, yeah. World building, I'm in.
Yeah, world building. I do Robert reads. I do all sorts of stuff.
Cool. And today we're going to be talking about creating fights that are the right difficulty, which is something that I think new dungeon masters especially, but not only new dungeon masters, is something that people talk about a lot.
Yes, yeah. I think I'd start with this topic. I'd start with the main thing to focus on is getting out of the idea that fudging is a bad thing or fudging is cheating. I think for me, fudging is a vital part. I don't even think of it as fudging. I think that gives it a negative connotation. I think of it as prepping the fight with information you didn't have before the fight. So if you prepped this fight 2 years ago and you're doing it now, nobody would have a problem with that. If you prepped it a month ago, if you prepped it an hour before you started, nobody would have a problem with it. So a lot of people think about prep for your game stopping the moment you start playing, as opposed to being like, oh, I am, as we are playing, I'm taking on board the information that I didn't have before, such as my players are a little bit low energy because they've been dealing with some horrible stuff in their regular lives, maybe, or it's really late in the day and they're all tired, or maybe their minds are on other things, or maybe they're just rolling really poorly today, or maybe they just really need a win for some reason. Like, all of that is information you didn't have before. And if you had it before, you would have changed your prep. You would have changed how you were balancing the encounter. Now that you do have that information, it's okay to now rechange your encounter. It doesn't have to stop the moment initiative is rolled. If you are in a fight and you intended for there to be three trolls jump out of this ambush and attack them, and you realize that would be a bit much for this from what I expect it to be, given how they're rolling and given how poorly they're taking out this first wave of goblins, I'm only going to introduce 2 trolls. That's perfectly okay to do, and it's not cheating. It is balancing on the fly.
Yeah. As
such, I also give my monsters abilities that are probably designed to be a little bit more powerful so that I can choose to use them or not.
Yeah.
And they don't need to know that those monsters the monsters even had that ability. So like if they're fighting a wizard, for instance, the wizard might have a 5th level spell. Like Steel Wind Strike is a great example, and a genuine example from the D&D actual play that I run with the Viva Literate League guys. In Adventures of Azerim, they fought a pretty high powerful wizard called Yaris Goldhorn, and he had in his pocket Steel Wind Strike, which is a 5th level spell where he can just teleport up to 5 different creatures and make an attack against each of them, and each of them takes something ridiculous like 5d8 damage or something. And it's like a massive damage thing. And it was a case of I gave him that in case that they went in there all guns blazing and he started on the back foot. I didn't want them steamrolling that fight because that fight had a particular narrative purpose. It was there for a reason. It had to feel a particular way. And so if they'd have gone in there steamrolling it, he would have been able to pull that out of his pocket to sort of rebalance the scales during the fight. As it happens, they went in there really cautiously and gave him an upper hand, and he started the fight with the upper hand. He was able to cast some preparatory spells before he even kicked off. And so if I'd have then pulled out that spell, it would have steamrolled them. And that was not the intention. So again, like on the fly, I'm balancing it by giving them abilities that I can either choose to use or not.
So in terms of that, what are you thinking around changing the hit points of a creature in the middle of a fight?
The way that I do hit points and have for a while, I really love. I'm really happy with it, and really proud of the fact that I take the hit points of a stat block. So if a goblin, maybe goblin's not a great idea for various reasons. Let's say let me pull one up while we're talking. Let's say a hill giant.
Yeah,
you've got hill giant from memory. That's 105 hit points. Let me tell you what it has in the brackets after its hit points. It's got 105, and then it brackets 10d12 plus 40.
Right.
that bracket isn't there just completely superfluous. It's saying that's the hit
That's how
points
they
that it
figured it
has,
out.
and it could have anywhere between
Yeah.
them. And so what I do before a fight is I look at hit points as kind of like a window rather than a single number. And so I go, if I'd have happened to roll a 1 on all of those 10d12, then I've got 12 plus 40.
Yeah.
That hill giant could theoretically have anywhere from 52 hit points if I'd rolled minimum to, if I'd rolled max, if I'd rolled a 12 on all of them, that's 120 plus 40. That could be 160 hit points. So that hill giant has anywhere between 52 and 160 hit points. And 105 is just the average. So when they're fighting it, I'm considering 105 to be like the peak in the middle.
Yeah.
But I know that it's got anywhere between this and this. So if the fight is turning into a real slog and it's taking up way more time than I expected it to, and I've got other stuff that I want to get to today that's more important.
Yeah.
Then by the time they get to 62, I consider that the minimum of the window. The next cool moment, the next like big epic attack that they do, the next time somebody gets a crit, or the next, if like one of the rangers has got like hill giant as his backstory, and he's like, "Oh, hill giant killed my family, and it's my favorite enemy." The next time he takes an attack on it, boom, I'm gonna make like hill giant go down. Yeah. Conversely, if they've come in guns blazing, steamrolling, crit after crit after crit, the paladin is smiting, and you know they've done 100 damage to it in like a round, and you're like, this was meant to like take out some of their resources. This was meant to be a bit of a fight. Then they'll have to get it all the way up to the maximum, which is 160. Like they're going to have to keep going until I feel like, all right. And doing it that way, I don't feel like I'm. There are some dungeon masters who'll go, I just make up whatever the hit points are on the fly, and when it feels like it, they die. I don't like that way of doing it, because it means that so many of the features of D&D that are about, oh, when you crit, you get to put an extra dice in.
Yeah.
There's so many things about like the hit points and how much hit points damage you can do.
Sure.
And I don't want to just completely nullify that. So the hit points still matter. Yeah. Because even if some like cool story ending to the fight hasn't happened by the time it hits the maximum of the window, 160 hit points, then so be it. It's reached the maximum that I'm ever going to fudge it to, and the hill giant dies. Yeah.
As a pause just for a moment, well, one of the things you mentioned is like there was a popular concept about 4 years ago around the idea that to simplify things for Dungeon Master, rather than considering a pool of hit points, that you give them a number of times they can get hit and then they go down.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about. That doesn't. I agree that I don't think that works with the D&D dynamic as well. If a mage who's just hit 5th level unleashes their first ever fireball, right? Yeah. But you've decided they need to take 3 hits, and then a wizard pulls out a staff and hits it for 4 damage.
Boink, boink. Exactly right.
Where's the drama in that?
And also if you go, oh, it goes down after you've been hit 5 times, cool. Then the fighter rolls well on initiative, goes first, has 3 attacks per round, and does an action surge and takes it out before anybody else.
Boring for everyone else, right?
It's boring, right? I have seen sort of a middle ground being proposed by DMs before, like saying, especially DMs who aren't good with numbers and keeping track of mathematics, maybe dyscalculia or whatever, and they just go, I just round down to the nearest 10. So if they've done, or like 5 or whatever number's easy for them, and they go, instead of having X number of hit points, he's got X number of like circles that I can tick off. And every time they do a multiple of 5 damage, let's say they do 7 damage to him, he just ticks off one of the circles. But if they do 12 damage, he ticks off 2 of the circles.
Yeah.
And then you can easier to go tick, 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 and that's done. So it's still making the hit points matter. Not every single hit point matters, because at that point you might do 10 damage, and I get to add a d4 fire damage, and you roll 4 and it's 14. Either way, it's the same.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I've never used that. That's cool.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect for like making every hit point count, but it's still it's like a balance between what's easy for you. Personally, I've got no problem with people fudging hit dice as long as it's important. As long as the damage I can do is still important and somehow.
Yeah, and I think it's and the reason that you're doing it, as you mentioned in the beginning, is to increase the sense of drama and excitement of a fight. Yeah. Without getting it to the point where it's just kind of, dragging on. You don't want a fight that's, on one hand, dragging on and becoming dull, and on the other hand, cut so short that it's kind of anticlimactic. Correct, yeah. And that, you have to consider everything around the fight as well. Like, if they have going through a dungeon crawl sort of a situation, and they've taken ages to get through it, and a lot of DMing is just remembering that you're there to have fun with
your players, and they want to have fun as well. And so you've got to pick up on the vibe. You've got to be able to read. Are people enjoying themselves? Is the pacing good overall, not just for this fight, but everything around it? Do they need a win? Do they need a feeling like they've just steamrolled somebody who should have been a bad guy? Because then it's okay to go, well, I thought that fight was going to be 6 rounds and you did it in 1. So be it. I'll just accept the loss, because I know that will give the players a feeling of, fuck yeah, we killed that thing, and they'll talk about it for years.
Yeah.
Apologies, I didn't ask if
that's all good, brother.
I'll try and prevent.
So the first, so this first thing we talked about is that this idea that fudging isn't cheating, and let's actually not even use the word fudging. Let's call it retrospective planning or rebalancing.
Retrospective, planning in the moment planning or rebalancing is perfectly fine and actually encouraged, because the last thing you want to do is have somebody is like, oh, I'm up against my mentor, my evil mentor that's turned on me and betrayed me, and it's my story moment of my backstory, and I smite him with and I get a crit on the smite, and I do 86 damage. Oh, cool. He had 87 damage. So, Rogue, you go next. Cool. I stab him with an offhand dagger, and do a d4 damage, and I get the kill. It's okay to. It's not only okay, it's actually better to fudge in that moment and go, you did a significant story moment attack on this thing. You get the kill, regardless of what the hit points say.
Yeah, I love that, Rob. That's brilliant. In a few seconds, Rob's going to share some thoughts on using the controversial challenge rating system. In the meantime, we want to tell you about a book that we're making that has orcs for every difficulty kind of fight you're going to face. It's called You Need More Orcs, and it has 60 original orc stat blocks covering a huge variety of situations. It's full of fun and fierce foes or friends, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's stuff on orc social structures and cultural practices, fortifications. There's stuff on orc phrases and sayings and name generators. So head to the video and podcast description down below, because you know what? You need more orcs. There's the kind of core tool that are used in the DM's book is challenge ratings. I'm curious to know if you have any thought about challenge ratings or anything else around this, around creating fights that are the right difficulty.
Challenge ratings are one of those things that almost everyone I know hates, but also nobody's ever come up with a better solution. Honestly, they're like a necessary evil. Yeah. Everybody hates challenge ratings because they're so poorly done. There are literally, no exaggeration, there are literally challenge rating quarter monsters that could TPK a party of like level 7s, like just by bad rolls. Like the Shadow is a perfect example, where it's like every time it hits you, it subtracts a d4 from your strength score. If you have a party of level 7s that none of them are like raging barbarians or fight, maybe you've got dexterity-based fighters and intelligence-based wizards and charisma-based casters, and all of them have kind of used their strength as kind of a dump stat, and you hit them with a 1 or 2 challenge-written half, I think, shadows, and you just happen to be really lucky they happen to be unlucky. You're lucky with your DM in rolling, and it's like, you're hitting them with every single attack and draining a 4 points of their strength score every time, and suddenly, before you know it, somebody's gone down dead. Yeah. And as soon as one person goes down dead because of action economy, suddenly the balance tips even further in their favor because they've got fewer attacks, and suddenly you've TPK'd a party with a challenge rating half monster. So everybody hates it, but they are necessary in that you can get a very vague rule of thumb from it. You don't want to be putting a challenge written 14 monster up against a party of level 5s.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So I think, unfortunately, a lot of it comes with experience. You just, after having DM'd for long enough, you will pick up on like the vibe of like, this is probably too powerful here. I'm gonna subtract 2 from its attack modifier, or I'm going to, like literally just yesterday, like playing D&D with the Viva guys. There was a monster that I put them up against. I gave them a particular difficulty, 18 armor class, let's say. During the fight, I realized nobody is rolling this. Nobody is hitting this. I'm gonna say that after a particular moment of the fight, they managed to do something that destroys a part of its armor, and I'm gonna pretend like that was planned all along, and his armor now goes down to a 16.
That's a great idea.
Right? You can change things on the fly. You are encouraged to change things on the fly to go, this is, I put a thing against them that turned out to be too powerful, either because it's designed that way or because they're just rolling poorly.
Maybe that's what
terrible decisions.
Maybe that's what Tolkien did. for the for Bard the archer who kills Smog.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Kills Smog.
He's
Yeah.
going,
Smog's destroying a town, and they're like, they're not killing this thing. Let's give him a single arrow that can shoot from a crossbow. Yeah,
and we're gonna make it a dragon slaying arrow. And
yeah, exactly right. And you add on extra d6. And because he hits him in this very particular point, it's okay to change things on the fly to be like, you start hinting to your players. Oh, if you realize that there's like he's every time you hit him, he's wincing against his left eye. He's trying to protect his left eye for some reason. Oh, okay, now you've given him a weak spot. If you can do double damage if you hit him in the left eye, you've just suddenly come up with something on the spot.
Yeah, I love it.
And so I don't want
great.
to put people off by saying it comes with experience, because the thing you need to remember is everybody is going to know you're new to the game when you're new to the game, and that is okay. You are going to make points. When I was new to the game, I almost TPK'd my party with a band of gnolls because I didn't realize how powerful the gnolls would be, and they rolled really poorly during the session. And so it's okay to raise the curtain and just like say, hey, I'm human and I'm fallible and I made a mistake there. Can we retcon it? Or do you guys want me to like introduce like an archfey comes in and saves one of the characters' lives, brings them back to life, but now you owe this archfey a thing? Or do you want to go on like a mission to the afterlife to get your friend back? Or how do we want to do this? I'm happy to just ignore this last session and just say like it never happened because I screwed up or whatever. Or it's okay to talk to your players and say, that was a bit too powerful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or vice versa. That was a bit weak. I didn't expect it to be that way. Can I say that the bad guy like escaped at the end rather than you killed him and he's going to come back and shake his fist and be like, I'll get you yet?
Yeah. Cool. I think one of the things about challenge ratings I think is interesting, going back to what you were saying before, like it's not a perfect system, but it's the best system that we've got for giving a general idea of difficulty. It was when 5e first came out with this concept of challenge rating, it was 2014, and a huge number of the people that came on the D&D bus were dungeon crawlers, right? And so the challenge rating is based around the idea that you have 6 medium difficulty encounters between rests.
You have
and
to
you're
have
gradually,
that many encounters, and you've got to gradually reduce their resources.
Exactly. And that was the whole theory about it. But we have changed the way that we play D&D. And shows such as yours and ours, it's not actually interesting for an audience if you have 6 mediocre fights one after the other. It's much more enjoyable to have a few big dramatic ones. Yeah. And so to put a team of 5 5 level characters up against a single CR5 monster, they're going to take it out because they're designed to.
And also it's important to remember for new DMs that the CR is based on well-rested characters that do not have magic items. They don't account for magic items. But how many level 17 characters don't have any magic items?
They all have them.
And so you put a party of level 17s up against the CR17, you're going to be like, this isn't a CR17. They wiped it. They could have killed the CR17 at level 12. Yeah, because they got magic items at level 12. And
that's right.
You got to account for that stuff too.
Yeah. So I think it's good I think those CR things are really helpful. And I think it's helpful to know that, if we want an epic fight and they're fully rested, we definitely don't go with the CR. And you're right. With experience, you know that actually a team usually punches harder than one expects them to. Usually.
Yes. Yeah.
And because of action economy, 4 or 5 brains, 3 brains are more powerful than one dungeon master brain.
And they get more powerful when they are in a dire situation. You chuck your party into a situation where they, within 2 rounds, feel like, oh God, we've really screwed here, and we've got. They suddenly start thinking. They suddenly start finally looking at their inventory and going, have I got any magic item? Oh, I've been holding on to this thing. This thing could help us, or what that thing. And the DM's going, you still have that? Like, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I guess you can teleport away and recoup. And I didn't expect. And suddenly you're floundering. That's why I think it's important to have these like extra backup stuff in your pocket as a dungeon master to be like, if the fight is not going your way, you can pull this thing out or you can pull that thing out. You can have allies run in to try and assist them, as long as it doesn't feel like Deus Ex Machina, this god just flies in from nowhere. Like, have it be important and stuff.
Yeah, I love that. The combination of these 2 things that you've mentioned of kind of rebalancing on the fly, and having done some prep ahead of time with some big powers that you can pull out of your pocket if you need to. So that gives you two really simple, easy but powerful ways to either make things a little bit more easy for the party if they need to, or if it's not hard enough, you can pump them with something that's going to scare the bejeebus out of them. Hey, this has been really helpful, Rob. Really helpful. I've learned some things for this. This has been great. One of the things I love about D&D is I've been playing D&D for a very long time. But whenever I have these conversations, people always have good ideas that I'd never heard before. I love it.
I still watch people's tips and tricks videos on YouTube. Like, I've been doing this for however many years professionally. I'm well known in all these different spaces, but also like, I don't know everything. Like, let me get tips and tricks from this guy. How do you make boss fights more interesting? How do you do this? How do you do that? Yeah. Cool.
Hey, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a regular segment. We are going to do a segment, which, segueing straight off of this, which is called a rules test challenge. All right. Now, and this is very simple. We each get to quick fire, ask a question back and forth. You ask a question, I'll ask a question, or vice versa. A point for each correct answer, and sometimes there are half points awarded or whatever. All right? Okay.
I'm excited. I'm known for my encyclopedic knowledge of D&D. So
well, that's great. And
if you can test me in it.
I'm super excited about it because I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 43 years. All right.
That gives you a disadvantage though, because you know all of the other editions.
It actually does become confusing.
Those rules start to confuse things together.
Okay. So here we go. You ready for the first one? I'll go first.
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. We're gonna start. Let's see if it's easy. What is the maximum damage a simple weapon can do?
Simple weapons. Let's see. I think great clubs are considered simple weapons. Great clubs do it's a maximum damage, so we're using technically you could hit with a crit. I don't think there are any simple weapons that do a D10. So I'm going to go a D8 maximized and then crit with it. You could do 16 damage plus whatever your respective modifier is. And I'm assuming that we're not adding on anything that's...
No, we're not adding anything on.
Any supplemental spells or anything. So
correct, Amundo! You are correct. 1 point for Rob. All right. Nice.
Hey, Vahid.
Yes, Rob.
I want to buy a mount.
Uh-oh.
I'm a Goliath weighing 300 pounds.
Oh, no.
Can I get a regular riding horse?
No way.
Wait.
You're a Goliath. You weigh 300 pounds. You want a regular mount.
I want a regular riding horse. Can it hold me?
A regular riding horse can carry 300 pounds. Yes.
Correct.
I had to figure out some quick encumbrance.
My part B to that question one was how much one would cost. Do you know a riding mount?
I think they used to be 25 gold. I don't know what they are now.
They're 75 now.
Inflation.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, question number 2. You ready? Question number 2 is, okay, what are the rules of the grappled condition? You have the grappled condition. What are the rules?
Grappled condition means that your movement speed becomes 0, and that's pretty much it. You can't. It doesn't affect your ability to attack in any way. It doesn't grant advantage against you in any way, unless the person grappling you has the grapple of feet, which means that they can choose to pin you as well, which is not technically a condition, but does allow for people to get advantage against you.
Great. There's one other aspect you need to mention, which is people can do something to you.
Grappled people can do something. Oh, people can move you. People can move you half their movement speed. If you're not a size category larger than them.
There we go. Very
also,
nice.
In order to be grappled, you need to be a size category. You need to be within one size category of them.
Love it. Okay, hit me. I'm ready.
So now that I've bought my mount, I want to make my mount harder to hit. How much would it cost to get a military saddle and barding for my mount?
200 gold piece. No. I'm going to say military barding. This is a complete guess. I'm going to say 1,200 gold pieces.
Well, here's the thing. A military saddle only costs 20 gold, but barding doesn't cost a specific set. You take the regular armor that you would normally take, and then you quadruple the cost. So, like, if you wanted, for instance, breastplate armor, If you wanted breastplate for your horse, then it'd be 400 gold normal, and then you quadruple it, 1,600 gold.
All right.
But if you wanted leather armor barding, then it would take the leather armor cost and then quadruple it.
Well, that's a fail for me. Definitely a fail. Okay, last one. How much does a potion of greater healing cost if you were to buy it in a shop? Default rate.
Trick question. There is no rate given in any of the official modules because they only give a cost for potion of healing, the base version, at 50 gold, and then they do not give any prices for any other magic items.
Whoop, 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 whoop. There you go. You're a 3 out of 3. I'm ready.
Boom.
Last question for me. Hit me.
Now that I've got my barded mount, I'm 30 foot away. I have 30 foot movement. I'm 10 feet away from my steed. Can I get to an enemy that's 40 feet from my steed and attack him on this turn?
Wait. You're 10 feet away from your steed?
Yep.
And your steed...
I have a 30 foot movement speed.
And your steed is 30 feet...
My steed is 40 feet away from an enemy that I wish to attack. Can I attack that enemy on this turn?
Do you have... Oh my goodness, I don't even remember the 2014 Horse Rider's feat, which allows you to do fancy things.
I'll say that I do not have any
no extra, no fancy things.
I've not got the mounted combatant feat.
Okay, you can get there. 10 feet will get you there, no problem. I think it's half your movement to mount, which would take it to 25. And then
half of your movement to mount a steed.
And then that gives you 5 feet movement. And I'm going to say that you can use your dash to action. You can use your action to control the horse to use its movement, but you would not get an attack yourself.
Well, in 2025 rules, I'll say that within 2024 rules, it's complicated, which is why they kind of simplified it 2025. In 2024 rules, they have made it. It's still just half your movement speed to mount it, so I can get there and mount my horse.
Yep.
When you mount a mount in 2024 rules, your mount's initiative just matches your own.
Yep.
And then it takes a turn simultaneous to yours. So your mount's turn would then be to move.
And
then you would still have your action to. Yeah.
Cool.
One way that I have already exploited that in my mind when I read these things, I've got a mind that immediately tries to break stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it helps with the whole balance stuff we've been talking about this episode, is because I can predict ways in which something might completely break, and then I can think, if somebody tried to break it in my games in that way, what would I do to counter it? The way that I've already tried to break it is the only thing it says about a mount is that they have to be a size category larger than you, and they have to be willing. And so if you're playing, let's say, a rogue with like a really high initiative modifier, and you're like a halfling or a gnome or some sort of smaller race, and you just tell your party in some sort of a downtime, hey, if a fight breaks out and I jump on your shoulders, just go with it, okay? And everybody's like, cool, now they are all technically willing mounts. As soon as a fight breaks out with your huge initiative, you climb on their shoulders, their initiative jumps to match yours, you dismount them with only 5 feet of movement. If you get the mounted combatant feat, which allows you to mount for only 5 feet of movement, you mount one of your other allies and you dismount them. You mount your other allies and dismount them. And suddenly the entire party has got your initiative modifier at the very start of the fight, just because you've climbed on them and dismounted them. It's ridiculous, but technically rules as written.
Fun. Hey, Rob, this has been super fun. Always love hanging out with you. Let us know, please, how can people connect with you and your content?
So you can find me all over the internet at Robert Hartley GM. That's Robert, R-O-B-E-R-T. Hartley spelt Hartley, with GM at the end for Games Master. And you can go to roberthartleygm.com. That's my website. From there, you can link to all my other things. You can find me on Robert Hartley GM on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitch. I'm all over the internet, Robert Hartley GM. Or you can find my work with Viva La Dirt League by searching for Viva La Dirt League D&D.
Wonderful. Hey, Rob, it's been so fun hanging out with you. Thanks so much for coming along and sharing these very helpful ideas.
Thank you very much for having me.
And guys, if you want to help the the Dice Legenz channel, head over to our Patreon page. You can follow for free. Or if you really want to support us, there are 3 simple tiers of ways that you can financially back us as well to help our channel grow. All right, guys. Get some dice, get some friends, do some dungeon mastering, because dungeon mastering is easy. Catch you later.
Bye.
It's wonderful to see all the new Patreons that have popped in over the last couple of weeks. If you want to see your name in these credits as well, hit us up.